Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again for episode 169 of the 815 Exchange. And well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the most wonderful time of the year. We have every single major sport. I mean, just honestly, every sport you can think about is currently going on. Alright, we've got the NFL and college football. We've got the World Series going on. We got the NBA season just restarted this past week. We got the NHL going on. We're in soccer times as well. F1, NASCAR. We've got the ending season for tennis. I mean, we've got everything. Alright, we have absolutely every single sport going on right now. This is the most wonderful time of the year. And of course, most of that we will be talking about on today's podcast, or at least everything for the past week. So Fury and Ngannou, which we're actually going to kick off with. We had some very close and we had some big upsets in college football. It was a very hectic week in the NFL with top teams emerging and some teams getting taken down from their pedestal. I mean, just, it was a lot. All right, we even got Loki, Gen V. We got Brent Faiyaz dropped the album. So, yes, plenty to talk about. I also made my return to the 704 this past weekend. And, yeah. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And, as always, timestamps are embedded in the video or provided in the description as well. So, you can skip ahead to whatever segment you're looking for if you don't want to watch this full, probably hour-long podcast. I understand it. It's long-form content. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, normally we start off with college football because, you know, we like to anchor the football segments. But we got some important stuff to get down to in the boxing world. Last week, or previously, I don't even think I set it up for the week, or maybe I did with Fury and Ngannou. But I was like, it's a no contest. I was like, Fury's going to make quick work of Francis. You know, I really gave Francis no chance in this. I gave him a puncher's chance, but that was about it. I don't think anyone, except for the people in Ngannou's camp, I don't think anyone on the planet expected what transpired in this fight. I don't think anyone on the planet expected Francis Ngannou to go toe-to-toe with the man who is supposed to be, with all due respect to Alexander Usyk, the man who is supposed to be the best heavyweight in the world, arguably the baddest man on the planet, undefeated lineal heavyweight champion, unified, soon potentially to be undisputed heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. Nobody was really expecting this to be much of a fight. But Francis Ngannou has silenced the doubters once again. He proved once again. It seems like anything Ngannou puts his mind to, he can achieve. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. Listen, some would tell you right now, some in my position right now would tell you that Francis Ngannou should be the heavyweight champion of the world currently. All right? He certainly has proved himself to be the baddest man on the planet. All right? I don't care that I'm not taking the excuse that Fury, he didn't train, he didn't, he was taking it easy. It was just a nice exhibition, a little warm-up bout, right? Make a bunch of money before he goes and fights Usyk for the undisputed. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. If you take a fight, I don't care if it's an exhibition, I don't care if it's, a charity match, put in some work, at the very least. Because I don't care that he didn't train. You are supposed to be the best in the world at what you do. And Ngannou comes over from MMA, trains with Mike Tyson for a couple months, and he arguably beat you. He knocked down the heavyweight champion of the world in the third round. Which may have not been surprising for some, because it was like, okay, the puncher's chance. Ngannou, of course, the legendary power that he has. But just the way that he fought throughout that fight, took a lot of those rounds. The CompuBox stats actually had him winning the fight. Fury, of course, wins by split decision because, of course, it would be again, boxing is what it is. Boxing is boxing. They're not going to ever, if this was going to go to a decision, it wasn't ever going to Francis, no matter how, distinct maybe the difference was in, if Francis clearly won, they were still going to give it to Fury because they have a fight with Usyk to protect. All right, and it would be kind of awkward if Fury loses this exhibition before he tries to be undisputed, right? And you kill the hype for that fight. But Ngannou made a statement. All right, he made an absolute statement in this fight. He can do boxing. He doesn't even have to go back to MMA. If this is what he's doing in one fight, now of course he trains boxing with MMA, but this is seriously him taking boxing seriously. Special. He is 37, but still, he just went toe to toe with the best in the world. I don't care that Fury said he didn't train. Take it more serious next time. And yeah, shout out to Francis, man. Shout out to Francis. One of the 3 African kings needed a win, all right, man? And I'm glad Ngannou got it. But yeah, very intriguing stuff going into the world of boxing and kind of what's going on there. But yeah, shout out to Francis, man. All right. Back to regularly scheduled activities. And that, of course, is the college football world. Now, I could have gone through a lot of games this week. All right, there was a lot of kind of interesting things that went on, but we selected some of the best of the best. It'll still be the usual probably 20-minute segment. So seep in, get comfortable, let's get it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've been waiting on this one. I have been waiting on this one. Not that I'm a cook. Don't get me wrong. USC and Cal, we gonna talk about it. All right, I'm a cook. Don't worry about it. But I've been waiting on this one. Not for all Sooners fans, all right? I want to preface this. I'm not calling out all OU fans because not all OU fans have been, OD about, the whole Lincoln Riley USC situation. But for those of you that have been taking this transaction of coaches so very, very, very personal to the point that you hate USC more than Texas, this is sweet justice. I mean, this is sweet, sweet justice. Because I had to deal with all of the slander. Even more slander than the slander I bring to USC. We've had to deal with the slander from OU fans all season long about Lincoln Riley, about Alex Grinch. Oh, we're going to get to Alex Grinch, like I said. And just the entire USC team, Caleb Williams, just everybody. All right, snakes, they called us every name under the sun. While propping Oklahoma as they're back. OU is back. The real OU is back. Oklahoma national championship contenders. Dylan Gabriel, Heisman contenders. What did I say last week? Go roll the tapes. Go back to episode 168. And what did I say about Oklahoma? I said I wasn't convinced. No disrespect. They're a good team, but I'm not convinced they're a true contender, and I don't know why Dylan Gabriel's name is even in Heisman conversations. ESPN, by the way, that little ceremony, graphic you did for the Heisman contenders right now was absolutely obscene. It was a joke, to be completely honest, with the quarterback. You had Jalen Milroe. No disrespect to Jalen Milroe. You had Milroe and DJU and DG. DG even has a better case than them. But you had all these just the top quarterbacks. You had Kyle McCord in Heisman talks. What are y'all watching? Anyways, back to Oklahoma. But yeah, heard all this hype about Oklahoma and what they were. I didn't see it. And you know who else didn't see it? Kansas didn't see it because they didn't care. They go in and they get the win 38-33 and they upset and take Oklahoma off of their pedestal and humble the OU fans in a way that honestly they needed because they were getting a little bit too much dip on their chip, if you know what I'm saying. Jason Bean, man. All right, listen, he's had to take the reins way more than probably any man could have expected for him. And for all intents and purposes, he went 280, 2 picks, had 1 rushing touchdown. And Kansas still beat Oklahoma. They beat him without Daniels, which is pretty much how they've had to play for most of the, let's be honest, most of the past 2 seasons, as much as we love to talk about Jalen Daniels. But they beat him without Daniels. They beat him with Bean, and it wasn't like Bean went off for one of those, classic, one of his 4 touchdown, 2 picks games. No, he had 2 picks, under 300 yards, and a rushing touchdown. That was it. All right, that was it for Bean. Devin Neal, 112 yards and a touchdown. He was the bell cow in this game for Kansas. He got it done on the ground. That was big time. Henshaw Jr. as well, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. That run game really got it done for the Jayhawks. Oklahoma struggled with that. In a way we hadn't seen since Alex Grinch was out and, carrying the defense instead of a Brett Venables, right? That was the struggle for Oklahoma, stopping that run. And then, of course, Melo Dotson gets a pick 6 for Kansas as well. Dylan Gabriel, not his finest day by any means. He had 235 yards total, a hat trick of rushing touchdowns, but it was a Mitch Trubisky, and I don't mean Carolina Mitch Trubisky. It was a very Mitch Trubisky-esque performance through the air for one Dylan Gabriel. It was not good. It was not good at all. He throws a pick, of course, no passing touchdowns, and again, merely 235 yards. Don't know why. Again, he still got it done on the ground. Credit where credit's due. You're supposed to be the star, you're supposed to be playmakers. You got to get it how you can, and he did. But let's take him out of Heisman conversations because it was kind of ridiculous. He had no point in being there. Again, Oklahoma, one loss is not a killer, but this definitely hurts. We'll see what happens from here. Tyree Walker as well. I got to give a shout out to 146 yards and a touchdown. But like I said, man, OU knocked off their pedestal. Go Jayhawks. Penn State. All right, we have seen James Franklin Penn State teams just kind of fall apart after that first loss, commonly to Ohio State. Let's be real. All right, they lose to Ohio State, sometimes to Michigan, and it just falls apart. All right, they just collapse, okay, and then they fall to like a 4-loss, 3-loss team. Almost did it, but you know what? They persevered against Indiana this week, 33-24. Drew Allard has a little bit of a get-back game here. He has 210 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, so a much better game from Allard. I don't know what it was, but it's like they, decided, man, we have a 5-star quarterback back here. Let's try to stretch the field a little bit. And they started to do that a little bit, and it was working effectively. Allard can throw the deep ball. Like, you don't have Sean Clifford back there or Trace McSorley. Not that they weren't great quarterbacks for Penn State. Of course, they're probably considered by some Penn State legends. But, Allard is a little bit of a different beast here, talent-wise. Y'all can do a little bit. Y'all can open up the game plan a little bit more for him, and I think that'll do them a lot of justice. Keandre Lambert-Smith, KLS, he had 6 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown in this game. Jalen Reed was a force on the defensive side of the ball. He had 8 tackles, a TFL, and an interception. Brendan Sorsby for Indiana had a very solid game, 269, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. DeQuince Carter had 3 receptions, 104, and a touchdown. Donovan McCulley had 4 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Aaron Casey on the defensive side of the ball for Indiana, the standout. 10 tackles, half sack, 1 TFL, and 1 PD. But that was not enough, as I commonly say. Penn State overcame adversity and did not fall apart. They get the win, a much-needed win. Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12. Sometimes. All right, sometimes you thought I was gonna stick to it. No, why? Remember, Washington beat them. All right, I didn't forget. But man, oh man, Oregon sometimes just looks. They honestly have more. It's a weird situation. Honestly, because that game could have went back and forth, but we got to give Washington precedence because they got it done, right? They haven't folded. Oregon lost it. All right, they lost that game. But sometimes the performances that Oregon puts out are just like you have to sit back, even as a USC fan, you have to sit back and admire, all right? 35-6, they just completely dismantled you. They treated Utah like teams supposed to be treating Utah, without Rising, without the dogs that they got, dealing with some of the injuries that Utah has. This is how a top team is supposed to treat this Utah team, and that is how Oregon did Utah. 35-6, like I said. Bo Nix, once again, he's a dark horse. He's a dark horse Heisman candidate. He's having fun. He's been in college for 15 years. He's got kids that are in elementary school now. It's, he hasn't decided to start the family because he's still hooping. All right, and he was hooping in this one. 24 for 31, 248 and 3 for Bo, and Bo knows wins right now. Bucky Irvine, I feel like we talk about him every week, probably because we do. 116 and a touchdown, and of course, the magic man himself. Troy Franklin goes for another 8 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. The average Troy Franklin game. Tyson Jackson, 2 picks as well. Tyson Jackson, 2 picks as well of Bryson Barnes, who had an awful game. Back down to earth. All right, back down to earth after the, USC, Barnes. Nah, this is Oregon. This ain't USC. They play defense in Eugene. 15 for 29, 136 and 2 picks for Barnes. He was not good in this game. It's why he is the 3rd-string quarterback for Utah. And like I said, Oregon treats Utah like they're supposed to be treated. No, not like a diss as Utah. It's just that Utah is missing a whole lot of talent that prevents them from being as good as they were last year. And Oregon is supposed to be a top team. This is what's supposed to happen. Louisville. They needed this. All right, they needed this. This was a massive game in the ACC. Why in the world Duke is continuing to trot out the corpse of Riley Leonard, I don't know, but they paid for it in this game. Jawar Jackson continues his bid for all ACC. 163 and 2 touchdowns for him. He carried the load. Absolutely simply put, carried the load in this game for Louisville. He was the guy, all right? Ashton Gillette as well did work for Louisville. 3 tackles, 2 sacks on that defensive side of the ball. Brock Travelstead also got into it. Riley Leonard, man. But Riley. 9 for 23, 121 in a pick. All right, the worst game of the season for Riley Leonard, and that includes any half-baked stat lines he may have had during his injured era. And he's currently in his injured era. Like, I don't know why. If you're going to pull him last week in a winnable game, then I don't know why I get that he's trying to be a warrior, but listen, he ain't got it. This feels almost like when we were talking about the Bengals earlier in the season before Burrow got back healthy, right? And they were trotting him out there, and it was like, yo, he is clearly not the same player. He is not the same player from what we were seeing. I don't know why y'all doing this. It's to the detriment of the team. I think Duke having Riley Leonard out there at quarterback, not that the backup's any good, but I think it's to the detriment to himself and his stock, but also to the team because, it's just not working. It is not working. Terry Moore, however, on the defensive side of the ball, 11 tackles and I believe it was an interception as well of Plummer. But, yeah, Louisville dominates. They pull the shutout, 23-0. Here's what y'all came for, baby. As always, we talk about USC. I said last week was the last time I was going to talk about them on a relevant basis. But here we are. Here we are another week because USC is still ranked. Because they decided to rank us 25th. And now we're 24th, by the way. After we beat California 50-49. 50, you heard that correctly, to 49. As of October 30th, 12:22 p.m. when I'm recording this, Alex Grinch, this is on the East Coast, has a job still as defensive coordinator. Now, if any of you at home, or if this gets to TikTok or wherever this is, would like to explain to me why Alex Grinch still is an employed member of the USC football staff, I would love to know. I would love to know. I would also love to know, probably personally from Lincoln Riley or anybody that knows, what dirt, what skeletons does Alex Grinch know about to be able to hold his job hostage? Because there is nobody in any type of right mind, unless you were senile, that would currently have Alex Grinch as their defensive coordinator. I don't care how bad the talent is on the defense. He is without a doubt, worst defensive coordinator in the country, and I don't really think it's close. I don't really think it's particularly close. He is awful, bad, disgusting, revolting, terrible. He is so bad that our opponents cheer for him because they know that no matter what type of monsters USC has on the offense, no matter if they have Superman himself like we currently do, it doesn't matter because we got a chance to beat USC every single week. And it's not just because we're playing football and you got to line it up to play the game. It's because Alex Grinch is defensive coordinator. Now, we held it down and we kept my prediction strong. Like I said, we're going 1-4. So that means we got 3 losses coming up, which is to, by the way, if you didn't know, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA. But nonetheless, why? Why was this game this close? No reason. This was the gimme game. For all intents and purposes, this was the gimme game for USC, and they couldn't get it done. And no disrespect to Cal, by the way. No disrespect. But if USC is supposed to be number 24 USC, this game is not supposed to be 50-49 decided by a failed 2-point conversion. Absolutely not. Caleb Williams, 369 and 4 touchdowns. A better game for Caleb. Not his finest game by any means, but a little bit better. All right? slowly but surely reverting back to his old ways. But I don't know if that's going to come back for the rest of the season with who we got coming up. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, Drake May still in, well, we're going to talk about Carolina, so maybe not. But, yeah, Caleb still, played a little bit better. Marshawn Lloyd continues to be a great transfer. He had, 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. Taj Boyd had 5 receptions, 102. Jaden Ott for California, the running back, 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mendoza, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tron Grizel, 6 receptions, 91 yards and a touchdown. Cade Ulave had 10 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 pass deflections. California was actually up 43-29 in this game. And I was prepared to air this thing out more than I have so far. I was going to air this thing out because it would have been a total and complete humiliation if y'all would have lost to California. And not just lost, got blown out by California. It was 43-29 going into the fourth quarter. But Superman and Austin Jones and Marshawn Lloyd decided to save the day. But still, there was some time left on the clock after, USC went up. And there was never any question. It was never in doubt. There could have been 2 seconds on the clock and they had 80 yards. And if I was a betting man, I would have bet on California to get the ball 80 yards into the end zone with 2 seconds left. Because that's how little faith I have in the USC defense under Alexander Grinch. That's how little faith. So it was never even a doubt. They didn't have 2 seconds. They had much more than that. But they drove right down the field, academic, easy as you do it, score. And of course, some would have gone for the extra point, sent it to OT, and maybe they would have won. But California, as you do against the top team, nothing wrong with it, went for glory. USC got the one defensive stop they got all night, and they win. Or should I say they survive, all right? Because that's what they did. They survived. Merely survived. They did not win this game by any stretch of the word. They survived. California. You survived the California Golden Bears. Congratulations. Fire Alex Grinch. Tennessee are in better spirits this week. They faced Kentucky. Of course, this was another, I don't want to call it a get-back game necessarily, but there was a lot of teams. Tennessee was one of them. Lost against your rival last week, and, you needed to get a rebound game. So this was a big-time rebound game against another rival in Tennessee. And Kentucky not Kentucky. Oof. Rebound game against your rival Kentucky, and Tennessee gets it done here 33-27. Joe Milton. Much better game. Now, this was a get-back game for Joe. 18 for 21, 228 and a touchdown. Big game for him. Jalen Wright had 120 and a touchdown. Devin Leary played very, very, very good game, by the way. 372 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dane Key had 7 receptions, 113 and a touchdown. But it was not enough. Tennessee, like I said, they were hell-bent on winning this game. They were going to do everything they could to win it, and they did just that. Carolina, boy, oh boy, it is not fun in Chapel Hill. It is not Chapel Thrill. It has not been a good 2 weeks for Carolina. All right? And it's not been a good, it's not been a good morning. We'll get to that in the roundup. But, Georgia Tech wins 46-42 over Carolina. Yes, you heard that right. Georgia Tech beat Carolina 46-42. Haynes King, 23 for 30, 377, 4 touchdowns and a pick. A great game for Haynes. A great game for the Texas A&M transfer. I would say his best game of the season. He was a big reason why G-Tech got this done. Dante Smith, 178 and a touchdown. Jamal Haynes, former, was it Grayson running back or was it Buford? I think it was Grayson. 80 yards and a touchdown for him. Eric Singleton, 8 receptions, 117. Malik Rutherford, 6 receptions, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. Drakeo, he was still the ruler, but, it wasn't enough. That defense, how many times have we said that? Very rarely have we said the Carolina defense just didn't get it done. We said it last week, and we now said it this week, where they could not get it done, right? I can't even talk about Cedric or Power this week. Like, they tackled everything. Like, I have Nobody stood out on that defense, and they got gashed by G-Tech. Drake held up his hand, though. 368, 3 touchdowns. Amarion Hampton nearly had 200 yards. He finished with 194 and 2 touchdowns. Nesbitt had 3 receptions, 89 yards and a touchdown. Tez Walker got injured in this game, took a massive hit. Turned out to be okay, which is, of course, great news. But nonetheless, you put up 42 points. You expect to win the game. And that UNC defense, and we've talked about them very highly this year, but can't do that this week. G-Tech. Shout out to the ATL. They get it done. Arizona is a dangerous, dangerous team, all right? They are a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous team. With Noah Fafita, they are going to be a very, very dangerous team in whatever conference they are going to, as the Big 12 or wherever they end up. They're going to be dangerous, all right? They took out Oregon State. Fafita goes 25 for 32, 275, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Listen, I'm going to give Fafita his flowers, all right? He is one of the best. I know we were talking about Arch and Nico and Malachi and I guess Dante, because he's actually the only one of them that are starting, actually. And we talked about Jackson Arnold, and we talked about all of them all throughout the recruiting process and all about, this is their arrival, all right? All these different teams are the future of their teams. Noah Fafita needs to be given the same praise as them. Especially since he's actually starting. He's had to come in for JDL, and he's been hooping. He's outplaying Dante Moore at UCLA. So much to the point that Moore, by the way, I actually don't remember if Moore is injured or Ethan Garbage just took his job. So more credit needs to be given to Fafita because he has been hooping, like I said. 275, 3 touchdowns in this game for him. T-Mac had 80. If he had 80 yards, 8 receptions, and a touchdown. I've almost said he had 80 receptions. Good Lord. Mike Riley, 5 receptions, 58 yards, and 2 touchdowns. DJU wasn't awful, but of course it wasn't enough to win a game. 218, 2 touchdowns. Jack Veland had 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. EMA had 10 tackles and a sack for the Oregon State Beavers. But like I always say, in these close games, it was not enough. And Arizona, man, Noah Fafita, they came to play. They get it done. And to round up here our college football segment, UGA just destroys Florida. 43-20. All right. We didn't even have any hype about this game. This was the least hype, good old-fashioned hate game I can remember. It was just nothing. No type of hype. No cocktail. There's just nothing. All right. They was just Georgia's going to do them in dirty. So, yeah, just nothing. Ladd McConkey went off in this game, by the way. 6 receptions, 135, and a touchdown. Carson Beck, who also was in that Heisman candidacy, which was ridiculous, but he played a great game this week, all right? 315 and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, maybe Beck's best game so far, and that was without Brock Bowers. So, credit where credit's due. Graham Mertz had 230 and 2 touchdowns, but yeah, Florida just got murked. Tulane won a very close one against Rice, and James Madison won a very close one against ODU. Both of those games by less than 3 points. So, yeah, some of those, non-Power 6 teams that have reached, that top 25 fighting for battles were in very, very close games. They get it done, and they survive. This was a week of survival in college football. Some survived, some didn't, some got exposed. So, yeah, that was CFB. Now, ENT, baby, entertainment. All right, one of my favorite segments, personally, because I get to talk about Generation V. Gen V. Another great We got 2 great episodes, all right? 2 great series going on right now, and I'm loving it. We got Gen V and we got Loki that we talk about every week, and we have been hitting every time. We're batting 1,000. Gen V, phenomenal once again. The storylines and just how it's being, weaved or how it's being woven, should I say. Shetty gets killed by Kate in this episode. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert on all this. Don't watch this if you're... I just said a massive spoiler, so spoiler alert, which kind of comes with the territory. You should kind of know how this goes by now. But anyways, Kate kills Shetty in this episode, and she just kind of completely is turned. That was the heel turn, all right? Heel turn complete. Victoria Newman is a savage. We knew this from The Boys, but it felt even more. I liked her character even more. Not in the sense that she's one of the good guys necessarily, but the complexity and just the mythos and the aura around her character, I think just really, really well done. Her also being a bloodbender with Marie. She was Marie's benefactor. That kind of veiled threat she gave Marie. It just all came together. And then, of course, she had a burst one head. All right. She possibly also gave Polarity his, Andre's dad. I'm assuming he gave Andre's dad She gave Andre's dad the like heart attack or whatever, the stroke that he had. But yeah, Vic is ridiculously powered. Also raises the level for what maybe Marie could be. But yeah, she steals the virus. Could be a weapon she uses in The Boys Season 4. We will see. But yeah, she was great in this episode. Of course, like I said, Victoria and Marie finally got to meet. We saw that kind of go down. Sam has been fully radicalized after they broke him out of that room. And honestly, it's justified, right? Both him and Kate's radicalization were both justified. It wasn't just like an empty turn. Both of them were very, very justified. They did a great job with the story. Both of them have been harmed by these humans, right? Kate, all the trauma, being used, right? Sam also being used, being locked up, being restrained, right? So it makes sense that they would be radicalized and would be very much so pro-soups, anti-human. It makes sense. And also, it's funny, by the way. Kate also, ridiculously powered. She's basically, it's a flip of Magneto and Professor X, right? She has Professor X's powers, but she's got Magneto's, like, mindset. And on the other side, with Andre, he's got Magneto's powers, but he's got more of that Professor X mindset. So yeah, it's just an interesting parallel there. Andre, of course, was out of commission, but he will be back next week for the series. Yeah, for the season finale at least. I don't think it's the series finale. I think it might be another season. But at the very least, the season finale of Gen V, which has been a very phenomenal show. One of the best seasons of any of the boys' material. They did a great job. So yeah, shout out to the team. I've loved it so far. Loki, season 2, episode 4. I don't know. I guess the MCU is over, by the way. Because time literally just exploded at the end. It just, everybody died. Everything went to, it's done. Alright? They hyped up Victor. Vic was like, I'm going to do it. I can do it. And he got flayed. Insta-flayed. Graphic. I mean, just split in atoms and pain. Just done. 1 second in. No recovery, and then everything explodes. All right, Ravonna also found out the truth from Miss Minutes, who also took her death, and still was a hater to the very, very end. But yeah, Ravonna finds out that she was supposed to be ruling with he who remains. She was supposed to be she who remains, but Kang had other things planned, and of course had her mind wiped. She found out about that. She was not very happy about that. But yeah, time gets destroyed at the end, so I'm very interested to see what type of, like, of course, this isn't the end, obviously, but what it can have, because I'm assuming he has some type of fail-safe, where if this was to happen, this is how he gets back, and how he gets back control, or, you know, how much will Loki and Sylvie, or Mobius, how much will they remember? So yeah, very, very good episode of Loki. I'm very intrigued. Flagg said the next 2 episodes are supposed to be special, so yeah. Very excited to see what that's about. In music, we had something. We had a little something this week. Brent Faiyaz dropped his album Larger Than Life. I'm going to give Brent's new album an 8.8. My standouts were Tim's intro, because listen, Brent Faiyaz and Timbaland was a match made in heaven. I'm also going to say Pistachios. So the intro and the closing song, Pistachios, were my 2 kind of highlights of the album. Off of songs that we haven't already talked about, like, you know, Where You At, and songs that, you know, we've heard, A Moment of Your Life or whatever. Stuff that we hadn't heard about already, you know, which were obviously standouts. The singles were great for this album in the build-up. But those are the 2 I hadn't heard, so those are 2 standouts. 8.8. It was a very good album. Brent is one of the best R&B artists I think out. He's a phenomenal artist. And it was a great mood setter as I returned to Charlotte. So yeah, Larger Than Life, 8.8. Highly recommended. Go listen to it and yo, have yourself a good time. Let's talk about MLB. Major League Baseball, of course, has reached the World Series. It is the Arizona Diamondbacks and it is the Texas Rangers. And even though the Rangers in Game 1, Adolis Garcia breaks the RBI record, he hits yet another home run, having a legendary playoff run. That all got shut back down in Game 2 because Game 2 was all Arizona. All right, it was all Arizona, 9-1. Corbin Carroll has delivered upon every single promise that he had as a prospect and all that he was hyped to be before the season. He has delivered excellently, and he delivered excellently in the biggest game of his career so far. 2 RBIs in this game. I think he went 2 for 4, 2 for 5 in this game. Corbin is a beast. All right, he is an absolute beast. He is the franchise player for Arizona, and they're going to want to keep him around for as long as possible because he is, in fact, that guy. Gerald Moreno, how many times have we talked about him coming through as well this playoff run for Arizona? He has been a big-time playoff performer. He gets another massive home run in this game, really put this game away. And like I said, it's not the end of the days, ties the series up, so a big win for Arizona. And a nice kind of bring that down to earth, right? The Rangers have been flying, all right? Had all the momentum in the world. D-backs snatched a lot of that back. Game 3 is going to be very important, I believe, in kind of setting the tone for this series and kind of how it's going to go. But yeah, game 2, D-backs get it done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. All right, we got week 8. All right, week 8, week 8 in the NFL. Of course, we're kicking it off on Thursday. The Bills get it done versus the Bucks, 24-18. All right, simply put, I can simply describe this game as the Dalton Kincaid game. Okay, I picked him up in fantasy because I needed a tight end. I was like, I'm going to let him prove myself, all right? I remember how Dalton Kincaid did USC. I remember what type of monster he was. Everybody was hyping him up. I didn't start him, and I should have started him. I still might survive the fantasy week and win both because I picked him up in both leagues. So I still might survive, but, I've learned my lesson. He looks like the answer at tight end. He wasn't even supposed to, he's what? I think the third-string tight end somehow, some way, but he broke out in a big way this week. He had 5 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Gabe Davis as well had a big game. 9 receptions, 87 yards. Josh Allen had a much better week this week with 31 for 40, 65 yards total, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. They were all over the Bucs this week. Baker didn't play bad, but yeah, they couldn't catch him at the end. Tried to fight back. Mike Evans scored late, but the Bills get it done. The Dolphins get some revenge back this week. They take out the Patriots 31-17. A very competitive game early on, but yeah, at the end, Miami just kind of took off in that second half, and just nothing could be done. All right, nothing could be done. Tua goes 324 and 3 touchdowns. Cheetah becomes the first man in really, let's call it the modern era, since not the 60s, to go 8 games, 1,000 yards. He's still on pace to break the record, so yeah, another great game from Cheetah. Jalen Waddle, of course, though, stole a show. Receiving-wise, 7 receptions, 121 and a touchdown. Cheetah, like I said, 8 receptions, 112 and a touchdown for him. Tua played a great game. Jalen Phillips had 8 tackles, a TFL, and a sack, which is the same thing. But Miami, a much more complete game this week. They needed this game. Patriots, they, riding high off of last week, beating the Bills. But yeah, Dolphins kind of was like, hey, here's a reminder where you are in this game. All right. The Jets, keep it in the AFC East. The Jets and the Giants, the Battle of New York. All right, let's talk about this one, okay? Because for all intents and purposes, the Giants were supposed to have won this game. For all intents and purposes, game should have been over. But Zach Wilson said it ain't over. It ain't over till I say it's over. And also I want to say, MetLife Stadium, how many players have to get injured on that dog surface you call turf? How many players have to have their careers altered by that turf for y'all to realize, you know what, that ain't it. That ain't it. I'm really, it's almost sickening at this point, because it's been an issue for a while. The players have said it, the fans have called, y'all need to get rid of the turf at MetLife and go back to grass. I don't care that's going to cost more or all that stuff. This is for player safety, all right? And that's a major, major issue, man. A major, major issue at MetLife. But, yeah, I wanted to say that because there were way too many injuries in this game. Zach Wilson, though, like I said, made clutch plays all over the place. Got them in field goal position. The game should have been done. Couple clutch throws, great decisions, a perfect last drive for him. Zerline hits the 35-yarder to send it to OT, and then, what do you know, Zach Wilson does it again in OT. Zerline hits the 33-yarder, and yes, the New York Jets, I guess they're on the road, even though they both play at this stadium, but they win the battle of the battle of the two New York teams, 13-10, they get it done. Shout out to Zach Wilson, man. Shout out to G. Wilson as well. The Wilson and Wilson connection was rolling, all right? Garrett had 7 receptions, 100 yards, I believe. So, yeah, he was hooping. Saquon had 128, but it was not enough. Zach Wilson. How about that? We talked positive about Zach Wilson. Ain't that something? The Jaguars. They're 6-2. They're 6-2. These were two teams that we were like last week. I was talking about in the NFL segment. I was like, hey, the Steelers are 4-2. We got to give them credit. The Jaguars, they fought back, struggled a little bit in the season, but hey, they 5-2. And here we are. Once again, not talking about the Steelers this time, but we're going to be talking about the Jaguars. 6-2. Kenny Pickett, of course, rough game for him. He got injured. And Mitch Trubisky is still Mitch Trubisky. I mean, he's still Mitch. All right? He's still Mitch. He's still Mitch. And I don't mean that in a good way. 2 picks in this game for Trubisky. He goes 15 for 27, 138. The Steelers had no semblance of a run game. I mean, no pulse of a run game. It was gross. All right? They end up 18 carries for 70 yards, which on paper you might be like, oh, that's not that bad, but if you watch the game and you look at this box score with all the different people that got carries, it's ugly. All right, it's really, really, really ugly. Landon Robbins, though, I do got to give a shout out to. He had 1.5 sacks in this game for the Steelers. But like I said, Jags got it done. Besides Trevor throwing a god-awful pick, I don't know why he threw. This was a pretty solid game for him. ETN continues to deliver. He did get injured in this game, so hoping for the best for him. Also for my fantasy team. Josh Allen had 2 sacks, but yeah, the Jags make a little bit of a statement, go on the road to Pittsburgh, and they get it done. Will Levis. We said sit him, and it might pay off. They sat him, and boy, did it pay off in his debut. Of course, now he was playing the Falcons. It's the Falcons. But credit where credit's due to Will Levis. I'm not here to slander him. 238 and 4 touchdowns. Honestly, maybe the best game we've seen from any rookie quarterback, and that includes C.J. Stroud, okay? That might be the best rookie game we've seen from a quarterback this year. And I don't think anybody would have thought it came from Levis, but he balled out. All right, he balled out in this game. A great debut for him. King Henry had 101. Honestly, this was a great game. If you were a Titans fan, this was bliss. Your rookie quarterback balled out. King Henry had over 100 yards. And DeAndre Hopkins looked like Nuke again. 4 receptions, 128, and a hat trick for Nuke. He was, he looked like DeAndre Hopkins of old. All right, him and Levis had that instant connection, and he was hitting them deep all game, and it paid off in a big, big way. Harold Landry as well. He had 2 sacks in this game. And like I said, man, the Titans came to play. Desmond Ridder either got a concussion or got pulled. It's a little murky on what really happened there. But Heineke came in the game and was a little bit better. Kept him in this game. All right, Bijan still does not get enough touches, and that's coming back to cost the Falcons as it has all year. But the Titans and those sweet Houston Oilers throwbacks get it done 28-23. The Panthers, battle of the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, and the Panthers get their very first win of the season. Eddie Pinheiro hits the game winner from 23 yards. Bryce goes 235 yards and a touchdown. C.J. Stroud has 140 yards. By the way, even going back to, by the way, shout out to Under the Radar. You can go back and watch CJ and Bryce if you want to. The IE Ducks versus, I think, the Paloma Steelers. I watched that game and didn't even realize it was them a very, very long time ago. Close to when it came out because I was just watching all the old IE Ducks games. But I don't know if CJ's ever beaten Bryce across all levels. I can't remember if Ohio State beat Bama. But I don't know if CJ has beaten Bryce at any level, and it still has not happened here in the NFL. Like I said, Panthers get in field goal position. They get the win. 15-13. Again, it was 15-13, so obviously neither guy really played too great. But, limited turnovers. Bryce, if we had to say if somebody won the matchup, we're going to give it to Bryce. He got it done. Jonathan Grinner had 2.5 sacks for the Texans. For the Panthers, again, that defensive side of the ball was much better. Frankie Louvis was phenomenal. 12 tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs. He even had 2 pass deflections. All right, so great game there. Panthers get a much-needed first win, man. A much-needed. The Cowboys. All right, I give Dak his fair criticism, but he has been slandered. All right, Dak Prescott's name has been slandered in the airways for many, 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 many months. Okay, there has been added slander. All right, excessive slander on Dak Prescott's name. All right, I'm here to give him his flowers. I'm here to give my quarterback his flowers today. Because against the Los Angeles, now it was the Rams. The Rams are solid. But against the Rams, nonetheless, Dak Prescott went out and had himself a day, all right? 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great game from Dak. He did throw 1 pick. But still, all right. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. The best game we've seen so far from Dak. C.D. Lamb, a career day. 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns for C.D. He was great. Jake Ferguson as well had another touchdown. He has been great. A great pickup from the tight end position for us. And yeah, really made a difference. Another week without a... Oh, wait, never mind. I lied. Micah Parsons is back in the sack books. Thank you. But like I said, Dak Prescott and C.D. Lamb just could not be stopped in this game. And the Rams are a far cry away from the Super Bowl winners they were just a couple years ago. Stafford had a rough game, got a little banged up as well. And yeah, Rams got shut down for the most part. Cowboys could not be stopped. Shout out to Dak. Give him his flowers. The Vikings. Now, they won this game, all right? By the way, the Packers suck. All right, they suck. They're going to have a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick, all right? They ain't it. And the Vikings, they won this game. But boy, oh boy, the cost of winning this game might be too much to carry, all right? Kirk Cousins, who was 23 for 31, 274 and 2 touchdowns, blows out his Achilles. A torn Achilles. Cousins, of course, that's a season ender. And at his stage in his career, it's going to be really tough to get back. Not that he can't come back, but it's going to be really tough. Of course, him and A-Rod now going through the same thing. But yes, just rough, man. Just rough. He had been playing so well this year. Played so well in this game for that to happen. But yeah, just unfortunate. KJ Osborne, 8 receptions, 99 yards. Hawk had 6 receptions, 88 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Addison continues to be the best. Who would have thought that? Of the rookie receivers, 7 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Final one. Shout out to the douche man. They got 4 sacks to Jordan Love in this game, and Jordan Love never looked comfortable at all. He had 229, a touchdown, and a pick, and was their leading rusher. That should tell you all you need to know about the Packers offense in this game. It was grim. But the Vikings, charging back, 4-4, but man, Cousins is going to be a big loss because I do not know if Jaron Hall's got it. The Saints get it done over the Colts, 38-27. This was a get-back game. All right, this was a nice get-back game for the Saints. We have not been very too kind to them this year, and the season has not been very kind to them either. But they had a nice get-back game against the Colts on the road. Hill has 63 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. Raheem Shaheed continues to ball out. He's been a very solid, very solid receiver for them this year. 3 receptions, 153 and a touchdown. Again, not end of days. Colts didn't necessarily play bad, but yeah, the Saints just had one of those games where, yeah, they were due. All right, they were due, and they got it done. The Eagles take out the Commanders 38-31. I'm now going to give the Eagles the hopeful jinx that they are the best team in the league. The Eagles are the best team in the league, man. You know, what can I say? Jalen Hurts, phenomenal game. 319 for touchdowns. A.J. Brown continues to be a monster, and if it wasn't for Cheetah, we'd be talking about him having a historical season. He goes 8 receptions, only 130 yards and 2 touchdowns for A.J. in this game. But yeah, another masterclass from the best team in the league. All right, the best team in the league, the Eagles. 7-1. Surely that won't jinx them. Surely that won't jinx them. The Seahawks get it done in a very close game, 24-20. Of course, JSN with 38 seconds to go gets the dump off and look like Ohio State JSN as he runs it in from Geno. And yeah, those, again, great jerseys this week, by the way, for the Seahawks. Those retro jerseys. Both them and the Titans with the Oilers and the Seahawks with the old, Seahawks jerseys, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right. Geno did not play a great game. Not going to hold you. It was a very Geno Smith game. 254, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Very balanced, but not necessarily in a good way. But they got it done. They got it done against the defense, by the way, for the Browns that have been very dangerous all year. Myles Garrett, like I said, is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate and has been, honestly, unstoppable. He had a sack in this game, too. But see, the problem is they have to start P.J. Walker, and it's kind of hard to win a game with P.J. Walker as your quarterback, as the Browns found out this week. 15 for 31, 248, and 2 picks. Not great, man. It's not great necessarily. Julian Love and Tariq Woolen get the interceptions in this game. But yeah, just a rough game for P.J. Walker. It was always going to be an uphill battle for the Browns. They nearly pulled it off, though, but JSN and Geno get it done in the clutch. Ravens take out the Cardinals. Ravens. Give Harbaugh credit where credit is due. Give Lamar credit where credit is due. Gus Edwards, though, was the man in this game. 8 yards. 3 touchdowns, the hat trick for Gus on the ground. Lamar had 157 and a touchdown. Nothing too crazy on the ground this week. Mark Andrews, as always, and as he does every week, got a touchdown because it is a Ravens game, which means Mark Andrews is going to score a touchdown or get like 4 receptions, at least 50 yards. He's a model of consistency. All right, what more can I say? He's a model of consistency. Josh Dobbs is Josh Dobbs. So Cardinals, you know how that goes. But you're 1-7 and you're back in number 1 overall pick territory. So, things are looking up. Things are looking up. Trey McBride played a good game, so maybe there's some hope there. But yeah, Ravens get it done as expected. Pat caught the flu. Okay, Patrick Mahomes caught the flu. And unfortunately, it was not an MJ flu game. It was this player is very clearly sick, and this is not going to go well for us, flu game, okay? Because Pat was not good, all right? 241, 2 picks. It was just a rough game for the Chiefs. It was a humbling game for the Chiefs. The Broncos get the win, 24-9. Let Russ cook. Kinda. In the cold, all right? 114 yards, which you might hear 114 and 12 for 19 and be like, are you sure that Russ cooked? He cooked a little bit, all right? He had 3 touchdowns. Didn't throw a pick this week. Judy even got in the box this week. So you know what? You'll take it. A great defensive performance, though, I think is the big talk here. And yes, the Broncos get their first win of the Chiefs since 2015. We talk about the Jets and the Patriots. The Chiefs had beaten the Broncos for 8 straight years until now. And it is finally over because Pat caught the flu and the Broncos showed up at home. So yeah, credit where credit's due. The Bengals eviscerate the San Francisco 49ers, who have now lost not 1, not 2, but 3 straight games. They are officially in fraudulent territory. Brock Purdy is officially a fraud. He was a fraud. He got all of you. He got all of you suckers. That nice little win streak, it's over. And by the way, this is why you pay Deebo Samuel, because y'all have not been the same team since he left. Y'all have not been the same team. Also, on the flip side of this, Cincinnati, welcome back to the fray. It's been a while. You had a really crap start to the season, but you're getting some respect back. Joe Chill was the king in the North, undisputably, and he looked like the king of Cali out there this week. 28 for 32, 283, and 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase cannot be stopped by any human, by any mutant, any demigod, or the Lord himself, because the Lord blessed him this week with 10 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown, and one of the most satisfying receiver stat lines you will ever see. But yeah, Burrow and Chase were just outrageous. All right, it was at will. They could not be stopped. Joe Mixon got in the box as well. Trey Hendrickson was causing all types of issues in that pass rush for Brock Purdy, who was never comfortable at all in this game. And yeah, he had a rough one. The Bengals are back. It was no secret, ladies and gentlemen, that the Los Angeles Chargers needed to win a game. And ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Chargers have finally won a game. I feel like it's been a couple months. It feels like it's been a while, okay? They win 30-13. Of course, it was the Chicago Bears with Tyson Badgett at quarterback. So, hey, it's kind of a gimme. But there's been no gimmies, all right? There have been absolutely no gimmies for the Chargers this year. But they do get the win. Jay Herbo is getting his name reinstated for the week. 298 and 3 touchdowns for him. Austin Eckler, the PPR god. 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Tyson Badgett looked like a fish out of water in this game. 232, 2 picks. Yeah, about what you would expect. Cole Kmet, though, for them, 10 receptions, 79 yards. So from a tight end, that's great. But like I said, Jay Herbo and Eckler, the PPR gods, get it done. And yeah, Chicago with no Fields, it's going to be a very, very rough time. But y'all were kind of expecting this. So yeah, shouldn't be too different, right? Surely, shouldn't be that different. Shouldn't be that different. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And with the Roundup, of course, that brings us to racing. And, of course, we're going to start off with NASCAR. Ryan Blaney gets his second win of the final 8. Of course, he was already in because he won the first one. But, you know, he caps it off with the win at Martinsville. You'll never hate on getting another win. So he goes into the championship for the last race of the season with all of the momentum in the world, looking for his first championship. Of course, he will be battling it out with Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, who already has 1 ring, and William Byron, who has been the best driver in the NASCAR space this year so far. So it's going to be very interesting, all right? It's a very compelling Final 4, all right? Larson is Kyle Larson, all right? Nothing else really needs to be said. Ryan Blaney is a guy a lot of people have been saying is a future champion. He has the momentum. Is this the time? Christopher Bell feels like he can win any race at any time and has won any race at any time this year in a 1-race format. He could pull it off. He could pull it off. And, of course, William Byron has been the dominant driver in NASCAR this year. Can he fulfill his destiny, similar to Blaney, of being a future world champion and getting it done here? But, yeah, NASCAR comes to its thrilling end in the next race. So, yeah, Blaney wins at Martinsville for the week, though. Max Verstappen continues to break more of Max Verstappen records this year. He wins his record-breaking 16th race of the season at the Mexican Grand Prix. Now, while it was, happy times for Max on the Red Bull Spectre, they also finished last in this race. Because Checo, by the way, Max got an absolutely godly start. Ferrari had an absolutely terrible start. By the way, this is the 10th win Max has off of a Charles Leclerc pole. But anyways, Charles gets jumped by Max. Max takes the right. Charles is in the center. Sergio Perez, Checo himself at his home Grand Prix. It's supposed to be happy times. He's feeling himself. He gets a great start. He pulls off the slipstream off Max. He goes left. He has the space, but you have to concede a little bit to give yourself a fighting chance. But he did not have too much dip on his chip, and he crashes into Leclerc and takes himself out on the first turn of his home race, and what could be the fatal move that cost him his Red Bull career, especially with the way that Danny Ricciardo was racing this week in that AlphaTauri. I mean, good Lord, it looked like Ricciardo of old. He finished 7th, by the way. He qualified 4th, and he looked like Danny Rick of old. So yeah, Checo, Disasterclass, Max does Max stuff. Lewis Hamilton finished 2nd. Sir Lewis does Sir Lewis stuff. Charles and Ferrari did not crap the bed, so he does get a podium this week. Thank you. Lando Norris, by the way, continues to have a phenomenal season, proving why everybody holds Lando in such high regard. He went from like 17th to 5th, all right? Should have been driver of the day, in my opinion. I don't know who won it, but it should have been Lando. He was great, and yeah, Max wins his 16th at Mexico. El Classico was this week. Jude Bellingham is, in fact, still him. This happens every week. I'm going to say it. I don't really care. I know you got like KDB, and there's a lot of great... He's the best midfielder in the world. He also won the Golden Boy this week. But currently, right now, Jude Bellingham is the best midfielder in the world. And it's kind of becoming a gap. Okay? Because it was, the first 3 times that this happened, it was like, yo, it's kind of crazy. Even the first 4 times, it was like, yo, all right, Jude is a special player. Some would say him, he's one of the next great midfielders of the next era. Some would call him generational. He's that guy. But at this point, he's the best. He's the best midfielder in the world. And it's getting to a point where we might need to start calling him one of the best players in the world. Because, just Jude is him. All right, he pulls it off in El Clasico, which was filled with all the young talent. By the way, Barcelona, it's getting kind of ridiculous. I know we didn't go through Champions League this week, but the money printer at La Masia, the best academy in the world, it feels like every time they need something, they just like, all right, which La Masia kid do we want to pull up this week? Oh, that one. Yeah, he's a future superstar. He's going to come score in his debut. It happens weekly. Just like Jude wins games for Real Madrid with a brace weekly, Barcelona finds some high potential youngster that's like 15 years old weekly. It's ridiculous. All right, it's absurd. Jude is him. NBA is back, like I said. Luka is also still him. He's still Luka. Luka Magic. That shot he made, 40. It's ridiculous. Zach LaVine also dropped 51 this week after getting slandered like crazy in Game 1. I think they still lost that game, by the way. Cade Cunningham is hooping. Cade is hooping. He has looked every bit the part of Cade Cunningham. he has looked just fine. All right, if not better. Okay, Detroit, by the way, we've been saying this. Okay, him, Duran, and Osar, who's been the best rookie so far, dangerous. It is getting scary out in Detroit. They are cooking. Great job from the GM because they built that team excellently. They might be, the second best young core in the league, and if they keep this up, they might not be two. The rookies, however, they're adjusting a little bit, all right? Wemby has games like against Houston where it's like, yo, that's Wemby. He has games like he had last night where it's like, oh, boy. Okay? Same thing with Chet. Same thing. Scoot had an awful game last. The kids are going to take some time to adjust, all right? They're going to take some time. Give them the time. Don't really overreact. Some of them have showed flashes so far already. But, yeah, it was week 1 of the season. Let's not call anybody a bust yet. And to end off, ladies and gentlemen, very simple message here. The flag has been captured. Operation Capture the Flag is complete. The best player in high school basketball is coming home to Durham. You love to see it. Cooper Flagg, first ever, by the way, to ever announce by being on the cover of a magazine, or at least on Slam. So, yeah, shout out to Cooper. Felt like it was coming. I heard a lot of this UConn smoke, which... I took with, respect, but it ended up being delusional. And yeah, capture the flag. We captured the flag. Cooper Flagg is a Duke Blue Devil, and it feels so right. Feels so right. Now can we go get Cam Boozer next? Please. Shout out to Shire, though. A lot of people thought we were going to fall off after Coach K, especially in recruiting. Thought we were going to fall off after Coach K. It's almost heightened, okay? It's almost heightened, so yeah. Duke, still Duke. Flag has been captured. And I hope you guys enjoy, because that is it. All right, that is it for episode 169. Nice. But, yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed another week down in sports and entertainment. And, yeah, have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Spooky season in its peak right now. Stay safe. If, you're partying again this weekend as we start November. Stay safe on Tuesday. It's a crazy world out here. My respect goes to the families out in Maine. And yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho signing off.